original Season 2, Episode 7, Chasing the Devil's Tail. This episode is a great example of how to really mess with people's minds because the biggest thing that happened in this one, without a doubt, is the fact that Klaus killed his father. Like, that was the last thing I would have expected from this episode. They were having, like, really emotional moments. It was like, okay, Klaus is trusting his father. We got to learn why he was so distant, in the last episode where it's like, it's not just Klaus being like weird and being Klaus. The first thing he thought is that the only reason my father is here is so that my mother can flip me just like she's trying to flip Elijah. And it was really cool. We got that explanation. It made perfect sense. We got to see him develop just within this one episode. He trusted his father, and it was like great. He's gonna be with his father. He's gonna get to learn things from him. Random things are gonna happen. I don't know, but I thought they were just gonna make it happen. It was gonna work, and it would be great. And in the end of this episode, not even in the end of the episode, but during the middle, he kills his own father, and it was just really crazy. It was a great moment in the episode. I loved it, but it kind of sucks to see his dad go, because it would have been really cool if he survived, and we got to see a ton of great lessons and things like that. And for all we know, he could easily come back. Like Esther could, being who she is, being that powerful witch, she probably could bring him back to life. But, Klaus killing him off in this episode and him kind of separating his father from the rest of his family was very interesting. It's like, I wish that you were here sooner. If you had come, even a year before or anything, this would be perfect. It would be like I'd have my actual father back. I would love to learn things from you. I'd love to be with you. I'd love to have you in the family. But you wanting to help me and you knowing that my daughter is actually alive, it's far too dangerous for me to leave you alive. And it really sucked that he had to do that. But it was a great moment for the episode. I really loved that. And then just everything else in the episode was good too. That was just like the big thing I had to get to first because it kind of just blew my mind. Excuse me. And it was just crazy to see. It was the last thing I would have expected. But I love that scene. And the only scene that actually rivals that in this episode is the very end of the episode, because we don't know what Esther did to Cammy. I highly doubt they killed her. I hope they didn't, because she was just getting into the role where she was becoming like, the powerful human character who kind of took over for her uncle. And she's stepping into the role of being in the sort of crazy magical realm, but she's just the human element. And I enjoyed that. I was like, oh, great. It's cool to see her step up into that role. So hopefully she doesn't get killed off. I'm assuming she isn't, especially. I'm just really hoping. I hope she's not dead. But her in this episode was good. The way they tricked Finn, they captured him in the end, and that was really cool. And I think one of the coolest things about it is that even though he was being tricked, he didn't realize that Cammy was a part of the trap until it was too late. And I just thought that was so cool. It was like he knew, like, your brother was one of the people that got freed. This is a trap. I'm gonna take you out. And then, he went in, and it was just like, I know this is a trap. You guys can't get me. I'm still looking for Cammy though, and it was just something about that made it even cooler. Like he didn't realize, because he still had feelings for Cammy, so he was still just in the mode where they have Cammy. They did this to set me up, and I have to go in here, take these guys out, and get Cammy back. And it was just, for some reason, I actually enjoyed that a lot more. He didn't figure out the whole plan, and he still got captured in the end, and they trapped him. He can't use his magic. Who knows how that's going to affect the rest of the series, or maybe like the rest of, next couple of episodes, really. But they captured Finn. They captured Cole by the end of the episode, and he'd been working with Davina in this one, and they kind of bond as well. I don't know how that's going to play out. It's not going to be good for anyone. I can instantly assume that, because they both have kind of enemies on both sides, in a sense. Not really, but in certain ways they kind of do, because it's like Davina is with Marcel, but Marcel is technically with Klaus, so she's kind of got enemies on both sides of the fence. And then, of course, Cole being Cole, he's just got enemies in general. So it was cool to see them working together. We got another thread where he's going to change the dagger that he has into, or at least kind of change the spell around it or something. I kind of admittedly got a little bit confused with exactly what he was going to do with it, but they kind of introduced a new form of magic, which seemed a lot like alchemy. It's pretty much exactly what it was. It's changing one substance into another, but they just called it something else, which I don't mind. It's you do whatever, but it was really cool. I assume we're gonna get to see a lot more of his sort of little secret underground lab, and we're gonna get to see him do a lot of cool things. And even if Kol was kind of taken out of the show for a little bit, Davina will still have access to that, and that will probably be what she ends up doing, where she gets more powerful by learning how to create dark objects and learning a lot of other new forms of magic that she, wasn't privy to before. So I'm really excited for that. I don't think that'll happen until a little bit further down the line, if at all, in this season. But I'm sure it'll be revisited maybe once or twice for the specific plot line they introduce. But I think it'll have some really good implications in future seasons. So I'm really excited for just what they could easily pull out of that. Like, oh, here's a random object that's just gonna like destroy or save everybody. So I'm looking forward to that, but not for a long, long time. But it was a cool little thing that we got in this episode. We got to see, the wolves kind of, in a sense, getting back together. The alpha came back, so he's gonna be there. He and Haley seemed like they had a bit of a connection in this episode. In the very beginning, when he was kind of having the funeral for Ali, the big thing is that not a single werewolf showed up, so that was kind of depressing for him. And just the way that their society typically is run, it's just torn down. Everything's scattered. People are getting these rings. It's like, hey, we have to follow this person who can help us not turn and be more powerful and things like that. So it'll be cool to see those dynamics come into play, because I actually like the wolf aspect of this series. I think it's really the only part of like the entire franchise where it's like the Vampire Diaries and the originals. This is really the only true section, because we had it in the Vampire Diaries, of course, when it was introduced, because I was like, oh, werewolves. But in the original is where they really explain, they really get into detail about how the packs really work together and stuff. You see the packs on screen. It's not just like, yeah, I was in the pack over the summer. It's like, this is the pack. They're in the city. The Guerrero Wolves were like the big pack, and then they kind of, poof, they got wiped out. But you get to see the packs. You get to learn the history of multiple, different werewolf bloodlines. So I'm excited for them to get back into that, and I can't wait to see how they actually convince all of these werewolves to actually go against Esther and kind of give up this incredible amount of power that they actually have. So I'm excited for that, but it's definitely gonna be another huge battle that they have to deal with after what's already a giant battle with Klaus having to deal with people not finding out what's going on with his daughter. But I love the episode. I really love the way it ended, where they have both Kol and Finn there. Elijah woke up in this episode, which I thought was really good too. Like they kind of had him out of it, and then the whole thing with Klaus was him actually trying to save Elijah and dealing with the fact that he wants his brother back because he wants his family, and at the same time he had to kill his own father, who is the one part of his family he always wished he had. And it was just really great to have that sort of contrast. Like, he's doing, the whole point of his storyline was like, I have to save my brother, and throughout that storyline of saving one person, he killed off the one person he never really got to know. So it was really great. Elijah's gonna come back, and then in the preview, they showed Rebecca and she's with the baby. So the way they played is like no one's really safe, but I don't think anything crazy is gonna happen in the next episode. However, we are getting close to fall finale time for pretty much every series, so it might only be like 3 or 4 episodes left in this year, at least in 2014. So who knows what could end up happening. They're gonna do something big, so whatever it is gonna be pretty crazy. And Esther went after Cammy. She might just flat out have her under her control right now, or have her locked up or something crazy. Who knows? But I love the episode. I'm really excited for next week's episode. Comment below, let me know what you guys thought about it, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and how do you guys think things are gonna go between the, I guess, Michelson brothers. We got all 4 of the brothers, and minus the ones that we don't really know about, or like the one I guess we don't know about. So how do you guys think the little dinner setup is gonna go, and just what are Klaus and Elijah gonna do to Kol and Finn? Like, what is their plan with them? Are they gonna try to get to Esther? Are they just gonna kind of kill one off? Because honestly, I'd be like, we can just kill Finn right now, because I don't give a crap. Because Finn's so loyal to their mother. If he gets an inch, they're kind of screwed. So I'd be like, we can just take him out. But you can kind of work with Kol, I think. But how do you guys think that's gonna play out? Comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.